Picking up a new hobby will always be an absolute nightmare. But what about if you click onto a craft website and are greeted with this? You're feeling confident? But don't fear, Abby's here. Abby's always here. And I am going to teach you how to stop having a life and become a crocheter instead. Such fun. Okay, let me just make one thing clear. This is not crochet. This is also not crochet. This is crochet. So you have two main subsections of crochet. You have amigurumi crochet, which I really hope I'm pronouncing right. If anyone is coming after me in the comment section, sorry. Amigurumi crochet is these dudes, and amigurumi is Japanese for crocheted or knitted stuffed toy. I personally suck at this subsection, just to point out. And then the second one is like crochet clothes, and that's when you crochet clothes. I say crochet clothes, it can be hats, scarves, gloves, jumpers, hoodies, cardigans, crop tops, shorts, trousers, dresses, skirts, whatever you fancy, really. That's crochet clothes. I'm speaking too much. But where do we find patterns to make all of these wonderful things? Well, I will tell you where we find these patterns. We find them primarily online. Traditionally, you would have bought patterns or books from craft shops. I have a couple of crochet books, all of which have come from my nan, now that I think about it. And they are helpful, but if you're a beginner, I would personally recommend going to YouTube, because there are so many free crochet patterns that people have come up with. You're supporting these crocheters' channels. I'll show you one I made actually from YouTube. You can't see it very well, but it's here. And this was based on a YouTube tutorial, but it had a link in the description to her blog with the full pattern. And I was told that there's an account called Always at Home, and she has a playlist of beginner crochet stuff. I was told this. I didn't come up with this myself. I was also told that if you subscribe, you get brownie points. To tell you the complete truth, as this is being uploaded, the playlist doesn't exist, but it will. You can also find patterns on like Etsy, Ravelry, a bunch of different apps. Definitely do have a look on Etsy and things, because again, supporting the crocheters. Always support the crocheters, please. In crochet, there are things you need and things you want. And I'm going to differentiate between what you need and what you want, so you know the bare minimum you have to spend to decide whether this is something that you want to dedicate your life to, because you will. You may think it's a casual hobby, it's not. I can't go anywhere without yarn now. So what you need really to do crochet is a crochet hook and some yarn. I would start off by finding a pattern that you like and then getting what is needed for that specific pattern. So you can get these kinds of hooks. This was a multi-pack, comes with a bunch of different sizes. This is a 4mm hook, and this is a 3mm hook. Personally, I prefer this kind. I find the little grip to be really helpful. It stops my hand from cramping up so much. You can tell that this is my favorite hook because of the indent. Now, I personally have too many hooks for my own good. This is my travel pack. I have an entire cupboard in my craft room dedicated to hooks and needles. It's a problem. And the next thing you need is yarn, which, oh my goodness, there is so much yarn. Buying yarn is a bit of a pain in the bum. If you're new to crochet, I wouldn't buy online. I mess this up religiously. If you're gonna, I don't know what this is doing, but we're gonna deal with it. Shops like Dunelm Mill, Hobbycraft, The Range, Wilco, although I think that's gone bust now. If you're American, there's shops in America. Michael's is one, I've heard of Michael's, but also you'll find local yarn shops as well. Get what you need for your project. So it's hard to tell on camera what kind of weight of yarn you need. To tell you the entire truth, I have not sussed this out yet. So I personally like to go based off of how thick the yarn looks in the person's hand / on the hook. You can't go too far wrong by doing this. This is one of my personal favorites. I have bought approximately 70 balls of this yarn. This is like a general weight yarn. Hard to see because the exposure is so high in my tiny Welsh house. But you can also get really thin yarn, which is typically sock yarn, used for making gloves. I'm kidding, it's socks. You can also get mad chunky yarn. Give me a moment. Insert my mad chunky yarn, right? You can get even chunkier than this. This I use for plushies when I do amigurumi crochet. I made this little dude. He's a co-rock. I am writing up the pattern for this, by the way. It's going to be out soon, so subscribe and hit the notification bell if you want to watch that. But that was using this yarn. This is from the range, but there are so many different kinds. Have a look around, see what you like. And you can also hold it up to your skin tone then as well if you are making clothes. And then you know you're not going to make something really ugly. Not speaking from personal experience. You will also probably need some yarn needles. These I got from Dunelm, but you will probably need these to weave in the ends. You are also going to need some scissors. These I think were like just cuticle scissors or something. You're not going to be doing any major stuff with this. The tinier the better, really. If you're doing amigurumi crochet, then you're going to need some stuffing. I use polyester wadding. You can use whatever you fancy. Probably gonna need some kind of like teddy bear eyes. I can't remember what they're called, the ones with the click-in backs. The multi-pack cost me like 15 quid, so if you need some for a project that you're starting off with, just get a single pack. In the long run, it's more cheap to buy a multi-pack, but if you're just making a one-off project for now, just start off by buying the one set of eyes. You will thank me later. But what do you want? Ha, I know this one quite well. We're gonna start off strong. The stitch markers. Now, as a good person, I can say, don't support Amazon. As a normal person, I can say, I bought this off Amazon. Stitch markers are really handy, especially if you're crocheting in the round. I'll explain more about that in one of my future tutorials for beginners. Subscribe and hit the notification bell. But if you don't want to spend loads of money on stitch markers, I think these were maybe £10. But if you're not prepared to spend the extra money, I got you a bobby pin, or there's a reason I have a million safety pins on here. A bobby pin or a safety pin work equally as well. They're a bit more fiddly to deal with, but if it's what you got, it's what you got. I used a safety pin for the longest time. Another thing that's really handy to have is a yarn holder. The one I have is also from Dunelm. It's literally like a little wooden stick on a base and it spins. I actually lost mine for a while. Turns out my dad thought it was a kitchen roll holder. I've also seen, which I really want to get, a magnetic kind where you just sort of like stick it to the top and then it spins. I think that would be much more effective because mine just flies off the top all the time. I'm actually planning on hot gluing some suction cups to the base of mine, which now that I'm thinking about it, could make it look more dodgy than it already is. It's absolutely a want. You can get by without it, and to be honest, it doesn't make that much difference, it's just a bit convenient. As I said previously, if you're gonna stick with amigurumi crochet, get yourself a multi-pack of eyes. You will save so much money. You can test out a bunch of different sizes to fit your teddy, and it's gonna be cool. I don't own these, but you can get amigurumi like pins that you use to like stab your teddy to hold things in place. Cool work, dude, come to play. All of these little pieces, when you're trying to hold them in place and you're trying to like get them all fitted in place, is an absolute bloody nightmare. I can imagine if you have pins to hold them in place, it would be so helpful. Something that'll definitely make it easier if it's something that you're serious about doing. Novelty yarn is something that is so very tempting to buy, usually an absolute pain to work with. Only get it if you're experienced, I would say. I haven't bought much novelty yarn. You can do what you want. I can tell you to do nothing. It's fun, you don't need it. If you want it for a specific project, that's different, but if you just want to buy it to like use, I think is a bit of a waste of money, but who am I? Jean Valjean. And then there's everything else for every other craft that you're gonna want to do after you start crocheting. It's a gateway craft. Literally every craft under the sun you end up wanting to do, because crochet is a drug. I'm completely addicted to it. It's debilitating. I miss the person I used to be. This is the most integral point of the video. Come, listen closely, okay? I'm gonna zoom you in. This is the wrong way. Hello. You're a noob, but that's fine. Stay with me. I am kind and I am willing to help you out of your noobiness. I was a noob too once. My first project took me a week. It was a crop top. It didn't fit me. I don't know how I didn't notice partway through the project. But by the time some of you are watching this, I will have released a tutorial on all of the beginner stitches you could ever possibly need. If you're watching this when I upload this video, it doesn't exist. I'm sorry. Contents include the stitches, tips and tricks, fun stuff. There's always fun stuff in these videos. I'm a fun-loving girl. And after watching that video, I can guarantee that you will be able to make you a dream project. Okay, probably not your dream project, but like a scarf or something. No, genuinely, you'd be really surprised how much you can make based off basic knowledge. Hey, I've made my whole life on basic knowledge. Believe it or not, guys, this cardigan that I showed you earlier on, I'll actually leave a link in the description to the video that I learned this from. But this really complicated looking stitch is just compiled of basic stitches. And it looks so cool, but it's so simple. So if I've convinced you in this video that you can give up your dreams and become a crocheter instead, click on this video that I think is on the screen. And if it's not on the screen, give me like 2 weeks and it'll be on the screen. And then you can learn all of the basic fun stuffs, like I did. But you probably want to leave a like under this video. I'll support you in your choice too. I'm never gonna stop you. I think you want to. Mostly because you're still here. Just help me out. Just click the button. Click the damn button.